Welcome to Noona Ya Business Podcast, episode 36, in Loving Memory of DramaFever, with your hosts, Becca and Megan. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to remember a close friend who has brought us all together. Today, we fondly look back at our short time together with DramaFever. We read the obituary, we share our memories, we grieve as one. DramaFever, age 9, gone but not forgotten. We also liven things up with a game, how BIGBANG would cope with losing DramaFever. We also pick a winner for our 5K giveaway, give a book club update, and do our first video podcast. You can listen via your favorite podcast subscription sites, or you can actually watch our sickly faces on YouTube. The choice is yours and yours alone. That's what you're in for today on Noona Ya Business. Please note, while Megan is traveling, our audio setup is slightly different, meaning you may notice a decrease in the quality of the audio. Also, on this particular recording day, Megan was fighting a nasty cold, further diminishing the sound quality, although we prefer to believe she sounds like a seductive K-drama temptress. Thank you for supporting us while we figure out this new setup. Now, let's dig into the show. Welcome, everybody, to this mournful day.
It's so depressing.
That voice that you're hearing is none other than the beautiful, wonderful Megan, who flew to LA for important business things and caught a nasty cold. So on top of the fact that she doesn't have our normal microphone set up, she also has this terrible cold. I've never, ever heard you sound like this before.
It's really funny because I feel like in one episode of the podcast, we talked about how if I cross state lines, I get a sinus infection. And I do. I told you it's true. I crossed so many state lines that I literally woke up so sick. I've been here for 2 days.
You look gorgeous, as always.
I'm very sweaty. But that's all right.
We're also trying something new where we are trying to record ourselves, not just the audio but the video. I don't know if it's gonna work, so
it's all worth a try.
TBD, we'll let you know.
I was trying to figure out how to maximize the box so I can see your face bigger, but I think that's how I took a screenshot earlier. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm just not going to touch anything.
We need to have Skype
tutorial.
Sponsor this podcast and come and teach us how to use it, 'cause it's been a while.
It's been a little bit.
Also, setting up tonight to podcast was the easiest it's ever been because I didn't have to get an extra table out. I didn't have to get any chairs out. And look at, this is going to make so much noise. My tiny microphone is so lonely without your microphone.
Oh, that makes me so sad. Here's my microphone. Hello.
Your microphone, I feel like it's like taunting me in the corner. It's like staring at me.
Why don't you love me anymore, Becca? That's what
I might have to switch them up. I might have to use your microphone next week. So
use them both and just alternate between them while we're talking.
We want Becca in surround sound.
Left
channel, right channel, left channel, right channel.
Personally, I'd like it.
Okay, so we have so much to catch up on.
I know. I feel like a million things. So we podcasted last week, but I feel like since last week, everyone's lives have changed forever.
Dramatically.
Yes. In a very disturbing way.
In a very sudden and off-putting way.
When Becca told me yesterday, she sent me a text that just said, DramaFever is shutting down. I was like, no, you're definitely wrong. I was like, that doesn't seem right at all. But guess what, guys? It did. It's real. What the heck happened?
This is real life. I thought it was a joke because a bunch of our friends on Twitter for days were coming up with all these really unique hashtags about DramaFeverCon and what's going on. New episodes aren't being released. And I was like, I don't think that's that big of a deal. I don't understand what they're talking about. And then, because I only watch shows that have aired fully. I do not watch shows as they come out and air. And then sure enough, yesterday, I kept seeing no, I called them and customer service was very elusive and wouldn't tell us anything. And then all of a sudden that notification came out and I thought this has to be a joke. This is like a Halloween prank early, but it's not. 'Tis not a joke.
The most frustrating part, I feel like, is okay, so we know there are other streaming sites, which is fine. And I use alternate streaming sites already. But I feel like I don't know what this means for all the shows that they've already licensed. So Becca sent me an article from Variety talking about the effective immediately shutting down. And they were saying that it's gotten so expensive to license shows, which doesn't surprise me because their popularity is increasing and there's more of a global audience. So like people will pay. But there are all those shows that were already on there. Where are they going now? Because our friend Irene, we were group chatting about it, and she made a good point that there are a number, or was it Julie? One of them made a good point that there are a whole bunch of shows on DramaFever that you can't watch anywhere else.
Right, they were DramaFever exclusives.
Like The Heirs was a DramaFever show, wasn't it?
I think so.
Oh, God, I just realized that
DramaFever co-produced Heirs, right?
Yes, it was a co-production with DramaFever. I just realized that, and now I am devastated. It's got to be somewhere else. I mean, I haven't done enough. Oh, my God.
There's a lot of questions. I came home from work today, and Greg was like, so have you heard any more about DramaFever? And I'm like, yeah, it's shut down. There's not really much more to know. And he's like, well, are they replacing it? Are they going to stream these shows somewhere else? And from what I've read, I know nothing. But from what I've read, it sounds like they may partner with HBO.
Which means we're going to have to pay a ton, right?
Yes. So you would have to pay. So if they do, you would have to subscribe to HBO.
Because come on already.
Again, that's a rumor. I'm just making that up from what I read in this article. There's no concrete evidence that is the case, but yeah. I think
HBO is a great network, and I love so many of their shows, but it's so expensive, and we're millennials. We don't do cable anymore. Like, it's just not a thing. I don't know. I feel like the WB already must have, or Warner Brothers or whoever the company is, they must have paid for the rights for all those shows, so why wouldn't they just put them on some other platform?
I have no idea. I have many questions once we really hop in here about the way that this whole thing went down. But
I don't know, man.
All right, so real quick, tell everybody where you are.
I am in Los Angeles, California at my brother's place because he and I are working on some creative projects together. And so far so good. I've slept for like 14 hours because I'm sick and living the dream, basically.
I'm so envious of you. Minus the cold.
Yeah, it's not. It's been not great so far, but this is real life.
So before DramaFever ghosting us, what were you watching? Anything?
Man, you talk first. I can't remember my mom and I just finished, and it was on Viki, so we're okay. We just finished Lovely Horribly.
I've never even heard of that one.
It's the woman from Running Man, whose name I'm just gonna completely blank.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Song Ji-ho.
Yeah.
Is that right? It's her, and then a guy I've never seen before, and then the second male lead was wonderful, and he's from Highlight, the same band as the guy from Let's Eat.
Yep.
It was a fun supernatural show. I will say, if you ever watch it, I'd love to do a recap because there are a lot of moments where I would love to be like, okay, wait, what is even happening? Because it was definitely one of those shows where there was constantly my mom and I are like, what's even happening? But it was good enough that we finished it. We watched the whole thing, so.
I think I would pay money to see a show of you and Marilyn reacting to K-dramas as you watch them together.
Oh, it's just like we're never drunk when we watch them because we don't really drink, but it seems like we've just had one too many whenever we watch a show because we play off of each other's outrage where it's like, this character just made this decision, that's ridiculous. And then my mom will be like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And then I'll try to one-up her. It's like going on and on. I can't remember there was one scene where we're just like, what? Come on, over and over. Where we were threatening to quit watching, but we didn't.
Mm-hmm. Those are empty threats. We all know that.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we do abandon shows, but usually if we're taking the time to be outraged about them, we're going to finish them. What about you? What are you watching?
You sound so seductive. I can't, if I weren't watching you talk right now on the screen, I would not. I honestly would think you were playing a prank on me.
Megan After Dark. I save this for all those sexy moments. Oh, I started another show and it's great so far. Man, I forgot all about this. I started the new sewing cook show. The Smile Has Left Your Eyes.
Oh, I've seen teasers for that one. Is it good?
I love it so far.
So I would be on the fence.
You might not like it. Although it's pretty dramatic for my taste.
Oh, so I might like it.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of stuff where you're like, again, like, what's happening? But I think you would like it. It's a kind of a slow burn thriller.
Oh, I'm all about the slow burns.
And so far I like it a lot.
So I actually just started, and I'm very upset about this DramaFever thing. I just started my ID as Gangnam Beauty.
Is that on DramaFever?
Yes. I don't know if it was an exclusive. Gosh, I hope not. But I had just watched the first 2 episodes. And then all this news came down yesterday. I loved it. It was such a Becca show. Again, kind of a slow burn. It reminds me of, do you remember when you told me to watch the movie, I think it was you, 200 Pounds Beauty on Hulu? It was like it's a Korean movie about a girl who like weighs over 200 pounds and then gets all like massive reconstructive surgery and just becomes a totally different, beautiful person. But the movie, the message isn't about like, I don't know. It's not what you would think the message would be about. And I think that's kind of where this show is going to. So I like it because it's not the typical, It's trying to do something interesting. Yeah, it's not just about, love your inner self. Like it's not over preachy that, which I do think we should all love our inner selves. But I like it when a show can take a message and kind of tweak it a little bit. And that's the way it's going so far. So last night I found out, if anybody's listening and is really upset like we are about the DramaFever thing, if you go on Amazon Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, which thankfully we do, and I think 99% of America does, you can still search for Korean dramas on there, and all of the DramaFever shows are on there. And so last night I signed up, after DramaFever website went down, I signed up for a DramaFever membership through Amazon. They took my money.
Really?
So my husband's like, doesn't that make you mad? And I was like, no, because I'm sure I'm going to get reimbursed. And if I don't, it's $9. But I just had to keep watching this show. So I binged till 2 a.m. watching all these shows.
I wonder if Amazon is like a financial partner in that kind of partnership, because then maybe they'll stay on that way.
I would hope so. I hope so. I searched for a bunch. A bunch of my favorites were on there. We're on Amazon Prime. But again, it happened so suddenly yesterday. I'm wondering if they just didn't get a chance to alert their partners to take them down too.
Well, I feel like that's why it's so upsetting, and that's sort of the impression I've gotten from people we've talked to on Twitter. Is there was no heads up. It happened right away, and that's not to say that the people at DramaFever maybe had no idea, and it was a corporate decision, and it happened, and they didn't know. But it's like you can't just throw this at us and be like, okay, it's done now. We're turning it off. You should have given us a heads up. Because it was like a
light switch moment. It was just like, hey, it's on. Oh, okay. Everything's gone. The app is gone. The streaming service is gone.
My mom doesn't go online that often. So I called her and I was like, just so you know, if you're trying to watch a show, you can't. Because DramaFever doesn't exist anymore. She was like, what are you talking about? Like, again, like when you texted me, she's like, you must be wrong. That's silly. But I was like, no, they just effective immediately shut it down.
Which, how strange is it then that within the hour, YouTube went down?
Oh my God. We were all talking apocalyptic stuff. Like, we were like, this is it.
This is crazy. And then there were people on Twitter saying that Vicky was acting up. And I was just like, you have got to stop. You're killing me right now. You're killing me.
It's basically like, how do we put this in perspective? For a person who doesn't watch dramas, I feel like I'd have to be like, think about your favorite thing. The thing that gives you life and takes you through the day and the week. It's your favorite thing. You can do it whenever you want. But now it's just gone. It's just gone, and you can
all forms of it. And guess what? Even if you can get to it on an illegal channel, it's probably not subbed with the language that you understand.
Yeah. There's like so many ways to do it. It'd be like if they just got rid of sports.
Yes.
Think about how mad people would be if they were just like, by the way, no more sports ever. You can't.
I actually made the comparison to my husband last night about prohibition. I was like, it'd be like, let's say you and your buddies all love to drink. And then all of a sudden the government's like, hey, we're taking it all away. Now you can do it, but you're going to get in a lot of trouble if people catch you doing it.
And you know what? It's probably not going to be the drinking you remember. It's going to be like bathtub
low quality.
Drinking.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not going to be what you're accustomed to, and that's frustrating also.
It is.
Which at the end of the day means we're just going to have to learn Korean.
Sign me up.
It's going to take me 6 years. I'm so bad at languages.
I will learn it for you, and then I'll teach you
and then
in baby steps.
Becca's like just saying this offhandedly, but she seriously would learn Korean.
Yes.
Find all the shows I wanted, subtitle them for me, and have them like on time delivered to me in my email like every day. She is that kind of
Get up
friend.
at 4 a.m., get on the treadmill desk, and just start subbing for Megan. So by the time that she wakes up at 7, 8 a.m. California time, it's ready for her to watch and enjoy.
And somehow in the end, she'd end up like paying me to do it. Like I'd be like, let me pay you. And she'd be like, no, here's some money. Go have a coffee. That's Becca. Whereas if it were me, I'd be like, I'd find them and I'd be like, this is what it sounds like they're saying.
And then she got mad.
And this is her being mad. And she threw something. Oh no. And then like there would be like 5 subtitles. I could tell you what Hajima means. I could tell you what Sarange and Chihuahua means. Annyeonghaseyo. Yopaseo.
Also, I wish you were here because huge breaking news in our household. Brooke, our youngest, who's 1.5, now whenever I go, hey, Brookie, you ready to go to daycare? She goes, "Deh."
Oh, she's going to be bilingual.
"Deh." She says, that's how she says yes. And my husband thinks it's so funny, so neither of us correct her. We just let her say the Korean word for yes. And I'm like, I don't even know if that's the right context. Like, is that... Because you know how different words have different meanings depending on who you're speaking to. There's different formalities.
Like the formality.
So I'm like, for all I know, I'm teaching her to be very disrespectful to her parents, but I don't care because it's super cute. Ricky, do you want some M&Ms? Dad. It's the best. It's the best. I love it.
This is the problem with not being in the same city. As part of the fun of podcasting was I got to see our little ones every week.
I know. That's okay. Maybe we'll record a message. Maybe we'll all do the New Face music video dance, and then you can watch at the beginning of the next episode.
You have to do that now. You can't tease me with something like that and then not do it.
They love it.
I want that.
All right. That's good for catching up, right? Hi. You look beautiful. I'm sorry I don't feel well.
You. Oh, it's, you know what? Story of my life.
So we had a couple people call us out, rightfully so, because we've been traveling, and then we went to the BTS show, and then we had to re-record it, and it's been a little crazy. But we never announced our winner of our 5K giveaway.
That's right.
Which is a shame because we're almost at 8K, so we're really far behind.
Yeah. I love it.
So we did pick a winner the day that the contest ended. Oh, is somebody trying to get into your apartment?
The ice cream truck just went by. Sorry,
it's the most like Megan thing ever.
Like, I hear it calling for me. But I can't eat ice cream because I don't think you're supposed to have dairy when you're sick.
No, it coats your throat and makes it more like congested.
You know what's funny? Got7 had a whole conversation about this one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I feel like Jackson was like, what do you mean you can't eat ice cream when you're sick? And all of them were like, yeah, it's bad for you. And he's like, no, that's not a thing.
No, DramaFever didn't shut down. That's not a thing.
No, everything's fine. Life is great. Anyway, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry about that.
No, so we picked a winner. So, drum roll. I don't know how to do a drum roll without blowing out everyboys.
Oh, I just did it.
There, that sounds good. Does that sound good?
To me.
So our winner was Fernanda.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, Fernanda lives in Australia.
Way to go.
I won't say her last name for privacy reasons, but Fernanda,
you said
we'll be reaching out to you.
Yay, Fernanda!
Yay! So you'll be getting a goodie bag in the mail, and we'll reach out to you. Let us know who your favorite shows, actors, actresses, if you listen to K-pop, what your favorite group is. And then also you get to pick a topic if you want and game suggestions for an upcoming show. So, yeah.
Love it.
That's great. That's super exciting. So that was that update as well. I feel like I had a million more updates, but now that I see you, I just want to talk about what's happening.
I know. I can do my book club update real quick.
Yes, please.
So we did a quick poll on Twitter. A couple people contacted me about it after the poll ended, which Surprise, surprise, guys. This was my first Twitter poll. So I have no idea if it's going on still or not. I think it's not. But it seems like the consensus is that we start with, actually, I don't remember. I think it was The Ones Who Walk Away from O'Malley's was what we decided.
It was the middle option, the short one.
So we're going to start with that one, I think. And then, oh, you ran a poll. I just got it must have just ended, everybody. So, well, that's it. Yeah, O'Malley's one. So we'll start with that one. You can go to our website, noonayabusiness.com, and find more information about the books. I also put a link to the Amazon page, so if you want to try ordering it, you can. I've also heard some people say you can find it online. I haven't researched that yet, but it's worth a Google search. It might be like a Google Books thing. So we'll start with that. I, admittedly, as with most things that I do, have only like half thought this through. So now that we have a book, I'll figure out exactly how we'll discuss it. But it should be fun.
Total professor mode with your hand gesture.
Oh, this is just like when we went to DPR Live. Oh, we never talked about those concerts either. After we went to a DPR Live concert when we were in Chicago, and everyone there was like very hip and young and cool and looked so cool. And I was dressed like a women's studies professor.
She was. She's not joking. But you look so adorable.
Well, Irene was making fun of me. So she like posted a picture and I was like, don't miss my lecture tomorrow on intersectional feminism. And she was like, shut up, Megan. You're not funny. But anyway, what?
Yeah, the book club.
Oh,
You're
book
just
club.
in professor mode.
Yes. So this week, start gathering those things. We'll probably give everybody a couple weeks. So maybe next week when we podcast, I'll kind of give you a date for when you want to be done by, and we'll figure out how we'll discuss it. Probably Becca and I will talk a little bit on the podcast, and then maybe we'll do something online. So I know some people don't have Twitter, so we'll have to figure out how to do it exactly. But we'll figure it out. It'll be fun. It'll be good to read something that's not fan fiction, to be perfect. So anyway,
fan fiction or social media updates, because they
Twitter
both
posts.
just depress me.
That's it.
For various reasons. Yes.
Well, thanks everybody for voting. It seems like we got quite a handful of people that want to take part, which is awesome. So we'll figure it out.
I'm excited.
And if you are listening to this and you don't have Twitter and we talked through email, I'll send you guys again that link to the website if you want. So just let me know. So
excellent. All right, so should we play our game?
Yes.
I didn't prepare that well, so.
Neither did I, because you sent it to me, and I was like, oh, perfect. I have plenty of time to do this. And then I fell asleep on the couch. So we're going to wing it. I don't even remember what it is.
We can do this. So today's theme of our podcast is going to be in loving memory of DramaFever. So we have a bunch of fun things coming up that we've prepared to help us all mourn, get our grief out about the loss of our dear friend DramaFever. Maybe to be a little angry about it, because that's part of the grieving process.
It is. You have to go through all the steps.
So we thought for the game, without being too morbid, we were going to do how BIGBANG members would deal with the loss of DramaFever / grief. Because there was like a very famous interview where when they were younger, when G-Dragon and Sungri first met, G-Dragon was not the biggest fan of Sungri. And so they ended up bonding over a drama that they were both watching. And it was like their gateway to friendship was G-Dragon would be like, hey, is that show on tonight? And Sungri would be like, yes. And then that was how their like friendship blossomed. So we thought of all the groups that we know and love, they would probably be the most upset about losing DramaFever if they were in the United States and didn't speak Korean and didn't have all the money in the world to get them these shows.
Everything was different in their lives. This is how they would react.
This is how they would feel and react to this exact same situation that we're all going through. So
yeah,
oldest to youngest. Let's start with Top. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I think that Top would respond with like a very meta, complicated, interactive art piece or something, where it's like something you'd see at the Museum of Modern Art, where it's like inspired by the grief of losing DramaFever, but it's just like an old-fashioned TV set just stuck to static, or like, no, it's like an old-fashioned TV set and it has the buffering symbol just for like hours and hours. And you go to a museum and you're like, oh my God, this is bizarre, but I'm into it. He would like take that.
You can't look away from it.
Yeah, you're just like, this means something, but I couldn't tell you what.
I feel the same way. I thought Top would go furniture shopping to deal with his grief. And
Always.
there are usually like 12 steps to processes of getting over things. And I feel like he would buy a chair for each step to adequately represent how he's feeling and just the chair that could give him the most beauty and comfort for that stage that he's in.
Let's be honest. Top would just use this as an excuse to buy furniture.
And honestly, and to drink. I think there would be a bottle of wine for each stage as well.
He would pair the wine to the stage of grief. So it's like a nice Chianti for anger and like a Pinot Gris for denial.
Maybe a nice sweet champagne for acceptance.
Yeah.
Just like, to get it over.
Well, I don't even know what the stages are.
I don't either.
They're good ones.
That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. I would want, honestly, I don't need to hear anybody else's. I know I want to mourn with Top.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
All right, going down the list then we have Tay.
I feel like he would be the most reasonable griever. I feel like we get a single dramatic tear.
But we can't tell if it's from his wet hair or if it's actually from sadness.
I feel like a single dramatic tear and then he's like ripping his shirt off and working out. Like working out to get past the pain.
That is actually the answer I had, which is he would probably train for like a marathon. He would be the Forrest Gump of grief. He'd be like, I just had to start running. And like, I had to take my mind off. I had to get a new hobby. Which is good for you, Tay, because guess what? I would never react to anything with like, my new hobby is exercise. Absolutely. It doesn't matter how much I'm grieving. That's never happening. And then at the very end, when he stops, he'd be like, I think I've gone far enough now. I just feel like quitting. I'm tired. Yeah. I'm pretty tired now. I think I'll go home.
Yeah. I think that's Forrest Gump is perfect because it's like I just needed to run.
Yes, I just needed to run out the sadness that's overcome me. I needed to
feel things through my legs.
Through my legs.
I've only seen Forrest Gump one time.
I've seen it a few. It's always on TV. I feel like you turn on the AMC and it's always on.
Controversial statement of the year. I don't like that movie.
Yeah.
Not for me.
We've had this conversation where I remember the preview said, you will be forever changed after you watch this movie. And I think it came out when I was like 13 or 14. And so I sat down in my living room and I remember giving myself a pep talk of, remember how you're feeling because you will be a changed person when this movie ends.
Concert, yeah.
Yes. And then the movie ended and I was like, I'm still the same person.
Like my life has not changed. Interesting.
And then I was like, oh, that's what marketing is. I get it now.
Yeah. And then you learned a very important lesson about our lives. Everything's BS.
All right. I think GD is next, right? I'm pretty sure logically he comes here. All right, go ahead.
I genuinely feel like he would like go to the internet and start a grassroots campaign to like get it back. Like he would be unstoppable force in trying to change it. Like he would just be like, no, I do not accept this outcome. I am using all of my power to change it. He would like just buy Warner Brothers and like put back on here.
Lord knows he could probably afford it.
Probably could afford it.
I had that he's what I do. So I've only had one nasty breakup in my lifetime. But he would be the person who would dye their hair a completely different color, get a different cut, go get a whole new wardrobe, just become a different person and pretend like that grief never happened.
Yeah.
It just doesn't even really acknowledge it. Yes. It's like a sadness gives him a rebirth of self.
Yeah. And then someday, years later, he'll hear someone mention the name DramaFever. And he'll say something like, oh yes, I knew it once. Really cryptically. And that'll be that. That'll be it.
That's all we're going to get out of it.
That was in a past life. I was a different person then.
All right, Daesung.
I think it would go one of two ways. I think he would either be the most functional, like it's okay, everybody. Like, it's fine. There's There's tons of other places you can watch it. Let's be really positive. Let's think about the positive side of this. Like Irene started being yesterday. Irene was like, don't worry, there's still places to watch your shows. But then she realized 13, no, come on.
30 to 17,
which she just started, was only on DramaFever, and she went like 0 to 60, like everything's fine too. I'm gonna burn down the earth. Like this is not okay. Everything is bad.
Irene, if you're listening, she was cracking me up in our group text because she was so positive. She's like, you guys, people watch dramas without DramaFever. It's not that big of a deal. We're gonna be just fine. And then she was like, I'm never gonna know what happens to Jennifer.
Which, based on my experience, Irene, nothing happens to Jennifer. So don't worry, you didn't miss much.
All right. Oh, wait, did I say mine? No. So and then did you have another way, or that was it? He'd go both ways. It was
going to be that, or it was going to be like a dramatic like experience through song, like bold, like sing out the sadness.
like really just to stop, drop, and sing.
Like, no, operatic experience, which I would buy tickets for. I would sell tickets for.
Yes.
I would podcast online.
Make the t-shirt for.
Yes.
Yeah. I had that he would be the overboard, like, cheerleader. Like, he would be feeling his grief so deeply, but he would be extremely empathetic of the people around him. And he'd be like, if I'm feeling it this deeply, so are they. So he would, like, plan outings and, like, have a memorial service for DramaFever and, like, just go so crazy above and beyond.
So he's you.
We may get along here. We may get along together.
So he's the Becca, where it's like, it's okay. It's sad. Let's deal with our sadness. But now how do we spin this so that we move forward in a productive manner?
How do we become better people because of this terrible experience?
Yes.
And the year of Our Lady of K-dramas, Gong Hyo Jin.
Amen.
All right, Sungri.
He would deal with it the way I deal with it, which is like go straight to the disbelief, where you're just like, no, this isn't happening. This isn't real. And then when you realize it's real, you like human burrito into yourself, where you're just like, I'll never love again. Everything is wrong. And then you compare it to like all the sports in the world disappearing. I feel like you would be like way over dramatic about it. But because it's coming from a genuine place of this was something really positive, so you just have to like deal with it in an over the top way. I think he would like do the like shaking and crying thing in front of his laptop. And then unlike me, he would go find the nearest hot tub and deal with it that way. Have a nice soak and relax. That's what I think.
Yes. I had that he would be like a workaholic. Like he would throw himself into another project to just not acknowledge the grief. But then at night when he was alone, he'd have to take a shower and stare into his mirror and look deeply within his own eyes.
Some like really dramatic music swelling around him.
Yes. And then he'd just cry tears at the faucet.
One hand on the shower wall, like leaning against the shower wall. That's what it would be.
Should we get to the part of the podcast that we are all here for today?
Yes.
Okay. Date.
Yeah, chef.
Yeah, chef. Well, we'd like to welcome you all to the celebration of life.
I remember a memorial episode.
Memorial episode.
Longtime friend and advocate for our hobby.
Gone, taken too soon. Gone but not forgotten.
Yeah. So sad. We were just saying how it's a miracle we live in this day and age because we wouldn't have the access to this 10 years ago. Now we don't have access to it now.
Period. It's gone.
Every day, a new disaster.
I'm just not having it today, Megan. I'm pretty upset about this.
I know. I'm so sorry, Becca.
I'm sorry for your loss, friend.
I feel responsible because without me, you never would have known a love like that.
You need to take responsibility.
I take responsibility. I'm so sorry.
So I thought we could start today with an obituary that I wrote for DramaFever.
I love it.
And then we could each share 2 or 3 very special memories that we have from our time together with DramaFever. And then if we have any anger to get out at the end, we'll have a platform to do so.
I love it.
And we are speaking on behalf of all of our good friends that we've met online through DramaFever, through the podcast, through this hobby that unites us all.
Yes.
So, are you ready?
Yes.
I wrote this at work, and then I sent it to my husband and 2 of our longtime listeners to proofread, and they gave me some feedback.
Oh my goodness. Are you going to tell me who the listeners are?
Kara and Samantha.
Ooh, I can't wait. Oops, I just hit something.
All right, so here we go. The full obituary for DramaFever. It's very sad, guys. Also, I'm going to try not to laugh when I say it. Although I really am upset about this. Humor is the way to get through things.
We're trying to cope by laughing about it.
We are. And also, it feels very morbid because I actually had a death in the family last week. And really soon. But yeah, I just went to a funeral and a visitation on Thursday and Friday. So when this happened, and I was like, we should do a memorial service. This is all very new to me because I've heard all of this lingo last week. So here we go.
Fresh in your mind.
DramaFever 9 passed away suddenly and in true form, dramatically, on October 16th, 2018. Taken to the great beyond by a handsome Grim Reaper and Goblin, she is probably halfway through a makeover while on her way to the promised land. A land with unlimited U-terms, bottomless bowls of ramen, and where every day is the first snowfall. Oh, isn't that lovely? She left behind a blank app, a desolate website, and thousands of fans stuck on cliffhangers they won't be able to resolve for the foreseeable future. Mm-hmm. So if you're waiting for Jennifer's backstory in 30 But 17, skinship in My ID is Gangnam Beauty, or a single plausible plotline in Boys Over Flowers, you're out of luck. Please wait the appropriate amount of time before Googling spoilers. Tonight should be fine. DramaFever was known for her spotty connection issues, glitchy subtitles, and her love-hate relationship with Roku. But we aren't here to list all of her technical shortcomings. We're here to celebrate a website we all loved dearly. Mm-hmm. Brought into this world on August 6, 2009, DramaFever, or as her close friends knew her, DF, was born into humble beginnings. Sorry, I took some liberties here. As a child, she had big dreams to be a sacred gathering place for drama fans around the world, a streaming service to connect fans no matter their nationality, language, or gender. A tall order for such a short URL name. Although she had a less than average lifespan, she did not have a less than average life. She loved who she wanted to love, back hugged who she wanted to back hug, and confessed to those she wanted to confess to. She had a lifelong love affair with piggyback rides, wrist grabs, and denim on denim outfits. And despite being a platform for Asian dramas, more than 80% of her family and friends were not of Asian descent, which means she provided a community for people around the world to embrace diversity and celebrate each other's cultures. Much like Reply 1988, her untimely ending seems like a cruel joke. One that we will not recover from anytime soon, if ever. Aww. She is preceded in death by Dog Poopy from Fated to Love You. Kang Woo, the imaginary friend in It's Okay That's Love, and pretty much every character in Scarlet Heart Rio.
Yep.
Because they all die.
They're gone.
Dramatically. Everyone remembering DramaFever is asked to celebrate her life in their own way. Raising a glass of soju in her memory would be quite appropriate. Tripping and accidentally kissing a handsome stranger is also acceptable. Memorial donations may be made to all subscribers who have yet to get a refund. Please note, per request of the family, anyone not wearing a Kim Tan ugly sweater will not be admitted to the memorial services.
Oh,
that's my obituary to DramaFever for you.
Oh, everything should end with a Kim Tan sweater reference.
It really should. It should all come back around. And the fact that we can't see those for a while is very upsetting to me.
I know. Man, that made me happy and sad at the same time.
The advantage of you having a really bad cold right now is it makes it sound like you're very emotional.
Yeah, and I'm like dotting at my nose when I'm crying. I'm just trying to keep it clean.
So Megan, do you have any good
beautiful.
memories or happy thoughts of DramaFever before we have to lay her to rest?
I do. I thought of a few. They're all pretty positive memories.
Ooh, let's hear them.
Actually, two of them involve you.
Ooh.
So the first one is when we got together at your place to watch Gangnam Blues.
Mm-hmm.
And we had our little party celebrating Lee Min-ho. And it was like right when you were getting into dramas. And I remember thinking like, oh, I'm so happy that we can do this and we can watch this together. And so it was that idea of like being able to just pull it up on your TV and see this movie that had just come out in theaters. And it was so exciting. So that was a good one for me. Also, a bad one for me. Spoiler alert, anybody listening. If you've listened to our favorite shows episode, you know Reply 1988 is a very sensitive subject in this house.
Mm-hmm.
And Becca and I got together to watch the finale of that show, even though we already knew it was going to end in a way we didn't want it to.
Terribly.
I'll never forget that night because it was like the middle of winter. It was super late. We were sitting on your couch downstairs, and we were both just like, what does life even mean? We were having like a total existential crisis because of the show. And
it was so late at night. I think you got over here at like 11 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And the episodes were 2 hours long, and we had to watch two.
Long. And we knew they were bad. Like, we knew it was going to end badly, so we were so sad. And I seriously will just never forget that feeling. And so that's a very DramaFever experience for me. And then the third one, before I subscribed to it, you could watch the shows, but you would get commercials in between. And I still have really vivid memories of, I had just watched My Lovely Samsoon, so I was watching every Hyunbin show I could find. And I watched this one called Snow Queen that he was in, and something really dramatic was about to happen. And it would always cut to this DramaFever commercial that played like a super upbeat K-pop song. And I'd be like, no, why? I would get so angry. And so whenever I hear that song, which I think it's a Girls' Generation song, it's a really good song, but every time I hear it, I get taken right back to that DramaFever promo that would always take me out of Snow Queen and Hyunbin. And it was enough for me to finally subscribe, because I definitely have been a subscriber for like 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So
a very long time.
What about you?
Some of my favorite memories are the screenshot game that my husband's been playing.
Yes.
Where whenever I wake up in the morning, he just takes a screen grab of whatever I fell asleep on the laptop, which now has like a whole new fun meaning for me. But honestly, we were at a friend's house because I started watching dramas with you in like 2014, maybe. So yeah. 4 years ago or so.
Yeah.
And, so my kids are pretty young. Casey was 3 and Allison was 1. And so growing up, they really haven't known me watching a lot of other shows. And I remember that we went to a friend's house from church, and they were watching just an American TV show. And Casey was like, Mom, they don't have words on the bottom of the TV. And he was like so upset as a 3-year-old that they didn't have words. How was Mom going to know what they were talking about? And I was like, well, Mommy speaks the language of the shows that they're watching. But it's been I don't know, guys. I know I don't want to sound like crazy dramatic, but that's a really fun memory for me. Is I'm really glad that my kids are growing up with a little bit of a diversity in our household, and knowing that you can enjoy what you want to enjoy. It doesn't matter if you actually know the language or not, or if you look different than the people on the TV. That's a great thing to embrace, and it makes me very sad that one of my outlets is gone. My original outlet is gone, so.
I'm really sad.
I am too. I'm bummed. I remember, so Hulu will often carry certain dramas, and usually at the bottom of because we subscribe to like Hulu Plus, so at the bottom corner of the screen, it'll say like brought to you by DramaFever, or whatever.
Yeah.
In partnership with DramaFever. And so there have been a few times where like Master Son was on Hulu for a really long time, and I love that show. And then they would take it off for licensing licensing purposes or registration rights. I don't know, but Hulu would lose the rights to that show. And so that's happened with that. It happened with that movie 200 Pound Beauty was taken off of Hulu. And so now I'm just like, oh my gosh, what if all these K-dramas are being taken off? I'm so upset. I'm really upset about it, Megan. Megan is sobbing and blowing her nose. She's so upset.
I can't put myself together. So I tried taking the mic away from my mouth to do that. Could you still hear that really clearly?
Just a little.
Really
it wasn't.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, you guys. Yeah, I think that I don't know. It feels like you said, I don't want to sound super dramatic or over dramatic about it, but what if they took away all the sports?
Mm-hmm.
It's that bad. It's that bad. This was
Oh, come on. Don't you remember like the football strike a few years ago? People were losing their gosh darn minds. And it's like, football is still here. Relax. Like, it's still here.
And it was like, at least so I feel like between DramaFever and Vicky, I could find everything between those two. But there's a lot of stuff that Vicky has that DramaFever didn't, and vice versa. And now I have one channel. I know Netflix has a bunch of shows. I know you can get them from Hulu. It was just so consolidated and easy to find and convenient.
I think that's part of it. So I love listening to the podcast Happier with Gretchen Rubin and her sister Elizabeth Kraft, who actually is a writer in LA, Megan. So they're just so much like us.
We're exactly the same.
And but I really love listening to that podcast, and they often talk about like habits and why we do certain things that we do. And to me, they actually were talking about it in a podcast I was listening to today on my way home from work, where they were talking about like people who go home and drink wine. And it's not even that you need the wine. It's like that's your mental trigger, that it's your time to relax, and it's your time to like be comforted, and it's just like a symbolic thing that you do. So if you don't if you can get off that habit, but you got to replace it. And DramaFever, to me, it was just this like community. It wasn't like Netflix. I didn't have to share it with my family. It was my thing. Nobody else knew how to log in but me. It was on my laptop at night. I just go into my bedroom and I lay down an hour before bed, and I know I can get a whole show in without falling asleep. And then like anything after that's just bonus time. So when I honestly think of like my most relaxed state during the day, it's that time. And so it is very upsetting where I'm like, oh, it's because even if there are other streaming sites, which I know there are, or illegal ways to watch these shows, which I don't want to resort to, but I probably will.
I mean,
I just feel like it's just like it really does. Not to sound dramatic, but it's like all my habits are going to change now. Like it's a pretty big.
I have to adjust completely. Which I'm already going through a life change. Like, come on, world. Give me a freaking break here.
Megan is moving and traveling and trying these new ventures, and she's
I don't even know what I'm doing with my life. I'm a mess. This was the last thing I needed. But kind of similarly, when I figured out you could download the DramaFever app on your phone, I would watch DramaFever during my lunch breaks at work, and it was like the most needed break. It was always so good. I looked forward to it. It was my time. People knew I had the headphones in. Don't bother her. She's watching her show. Right. Or she has nothing. Great. She just doesn't want to talk to us. Which they knew that too, and they knew either way they didn't want to bother me. So that's hard. And Vicky, they have a ton of good shows, and I've been pretty happy with it. Like DramaFever definitely wasn't perfect. I could come up with all kinds of complaints about it. And I can do the same for Vicky because it's an app, it's a service. You're never 100% satisfied. But even with Vicky, more often I'll run into things where there's a show on there that's nowhere else, but I can only watch it on my iPad. I can't watch it through Roku. Or there's a show on there that it's volunteer community subtitlers, which I think is awesome. Right. However, that means that a lot of time it takes a lot longer for shows to get subbed, or they'll be subbed, like partially subbed. And with DramaFever, again, despite all of its problems, because there were plenty of things where I was like, why are you doing it like this? They would usually be able to be like, the subtitles are there, it's up 100%. Like we posted, it's ready to go. So, I mean, that's frustrating to me. It's just like, it was a little more reliable in some ways. I'm definitely not bad-mouthing Vicky because it's the only girl at the dance at this point. So. She's looking pretty good too. Definitely date Vicky, but Yeah, it's just one of those things where it sucks. It's already something that's kind of hard for us to have and kind of hard for us to get access to. Not as hard as it would have been, like we say 10 years ago. But this just feels like an added challenge and trying to we just want to love. Like a K-drama lead, we just want to love. Why is everyone making it so hard for us to love?
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, that was beautifully said, Megan. It reminds me of, we got a really great email from a listener who said that she was inspired, which is a strong word, inspired by us and our openness to talk about this is something we love to do, to put like a Facebook post out and just saying like how grateful she is for K-pop. And she ended up meeting or finding out that a friend or an acquaintance of hers was also into it. And so now she's super excited because she made that connection, and now she actually knows somebody face to face that she can fangirl with. And she was so sweet in this email about that. But it made me think of like, we have a lot of listeners who are like, oh, we always love K-pop, so you guys have inspired us to like try K-dramas. And now I feel like I've led people down this terrible like dead end. Yeah. But keep fighting the good fight, because there's so many great shows out there. And the thing is, let's be honest, guys, it's consumerism. There's gonna be a replacement. Absolutely. You may have to pay more, or you may have to find a different avenue to get it, but there's definitely a market for this. I mean, DramaFever
That's the thing.
Wasn't hemorrhaging money. I mean, they were making money, so.
The demand is there, obviously. I mean, we can see that just from the number of people we've met, and we're like a small potatoes thing. Like, we're just doing this for fun. And we've connected with so many people. So I can't believe the demand isn't there. I just don't believe it. So I also think that on a very personal note, we obviously, our paths were going to converge no matter what because of your husband and my boyfriend, and we're close and we're like family. But I feel like DramaFever was part of what brought us together and made us such good friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we bonded over this. And again, I never want to suggest that we wouldn't be friends if it weren't for this. If you had watched a drama and been like, it's not for me, I would still love you unconditionally.
Oh, thanks, Megan.
Probably I would.
I was just going to say, I think we'd still be really close. Would we?
We have
it just like catapulted us so quickly to the next level of friendship.
I don't know. Exactly. I don't know that we would have been this close this fast because it's given us something that is like very much ours.
Yes.
Together, and I think that's been really special. And so, it's like a chapter ending. This is like an ending chapter for a lot of drama fans. I know, but I said chapter ending because that implies that more chapters will come. The book didn't end. There's just moving to the next chapter.
We'll just say that this was the foreword. This was just the foreword.
Exactly. We've
got a whole novel coming.
We have a lot ahead. I feel like we've all talked on Twitter, on social media, through email. If you guys hear something and you learn something and there's like this great resource out there we don't know about, let us know and we'll share it with everybody. We're in this together. We'll get through it. It's going to be hard. But I think it's mostly, at the end of the day, it's mostly like a convenience thing, how inconvenient that this is gone. But it does have sentimental value for a lot of people because this is a special thing in our lives. And DramaFever was the first place I found it. I lied to you. Netflix was the first place I found it. But Netflix had a very limited supply of dramas, but it opened the gates to DramaFever, which had a seemingly unlimited supply. So
right. Plus, the recommendations were coming left and right once you're on DramaFever. I guess that's a good question that we can pose to our community of listeners. Since right now it seems like our only option is Netflix, Hulu, or Viki. What are on those platforms that you love? Like, what are some dramas that maybe weren't on DramaFever that are on those platforms that I've just never paid attention to? So if you have any suggestions, please let us know, and we'll share them with everybody.
The last few shows I watched have been on Viki, so I've been on there a lot. And there are so many shows I've never even heard of. So there's tons of content out there.
You know what's so funny? And this is just a personal preference. So DramaFever had a blog. Megan and I actually wrote for it for a while. And so we loved, as far as like the online presence and space and social media, I feel like DramaFever was just a better like streaming experience maybe is what I want to say. But as far as like the blog and social media, I just feel like they were so-so. Whereas Vicky, I feel like is kind of a so-so streaming experience. But Soupy, aren't they connected to Soupy? Megan, you are cracking me up.
Yes, they're connected to Soupy. I'm sorry. I can't talk.
Is this going to have to be like a K-drama where I have to blur out your face whenever you blow your nose?
You're going to have to, like, send me time codes. Oh, I forgot people can see me. I'm, like, thinking me and I'll sneak you over here. You're going to send me the thing before we post it so I can go to time codes to be like, warning, if you're disgusted by phlegm, skip from here to here, because Megan had no choice but to blow her nose. Guys,
yeah,
I
feel like Vicky is a little bit like so-so with streaming, but as far as their online web content, I feel like they were levels ahead of DramaFever. So
there's
goods and bads everywhere.
Yeah, and like I just said, most of the shows I've been watching recently have been on Vicky and not on DramaFever, so I feel pretty lucky because I wasn't in the middle of watching something on the site that just decided to turn off overnight. And I
swear to you, if I go upstairs tonight and I try to watch My ID's Gang Beauty and Amazon Prime does not work,
you'll be mad.
I'm going to lose my mind.
As sad as we are, we should take a second to say like 22 people lost their jobs also.
Yes.
With this. And so they're actually sad. Like, that's awful. Especially if it happened as fast for them as it happened for us.
Mm-hmm.
But man,
let's be honest, it probably did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that for sure.
No, but
I doubt any of them listen to our podcast, but having gone through that just not even a year, actually, it was like a year ago today.
Yeah.
On the 20th. So what's today, the 17th or something? Yeah.
The 17th.
A year ago on October 20th, I found out that I was losing my job. And it was just like, it's like you're gearing up for the holidays. You get a little bit of severance to get you through the end of the year. Like, it's a very difficult time for a person. So am I being dramatic? Yes. Am I really, really sad though and upset? Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
But I guess that really does put it in perspective that people are out there probably with families and they just lost their jobs. So we're definitely thinking of all of those DramaFever employees who
absolutely
got that bad news. Because some of them, we've talked to some of them, are genuine fans on top of working for DramaFever. So they're kind of dealing with losing their hobby and they lost their job. So yeah, let's all send positive thoughts out in the world for them.
Yeah.
Sending them right now.
I'm
really good at sending positive thoughts, so there they are.
I will miss it. I'll miss the website. I'll miss the web content. I'll miss the social media content because they had some really funny, great posts. And I'll miss the shows, obviously. It was like a friend. It was like a friend who always gave me whatever I wanted.
And was always available to talk. Like, you're pretty much always there if I need to talk to you. But there are some times where I'm like, I won't text her because I know it's really early. Or I won't text her because it's 3 a.m. and I'm up with one of my kids. And DramaFever was always there. Mm-hmm. As long as my internet connection was working, DramaFever was there.
So Nate's cat, Tiffany, is dealing with the end of DramaFever worse than we are. Because can you see her? She just hung up the call.
So I saw a flash of white come across the screen, and then it hung up, and I was like, did Megan just hang up on me, or did something just jump on her computer?
It was the beautiful Tiffany. I wonder if I can pick her up so you can see her. She's like a lynx cat. I don't know. Nope, she's gone. Tiffany wants to maintain her anonymity, so. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's our dramatic podcast for the day. I'm sorry for your loss, Megan. I know it's upsetting. Sorry. To all of our listeners, to all of our good friends on Twitter, I'm not joking. I put a Twitter post out about, my first thought was, oh my gosh, my Twitter friends are going to be so upset and I don't know them well enough to send them cards, because if I did know you guys well enough and I had your addresses, I would send you handwritten cards with like happy thoughts inside and confetti and stuff.
I saw that tweet that you sent out about that pop up in my feed, and I was like, I don't know who wrote this, but it sounds exactly like Becca. because I thought somebody had sent it to us. And then I was like, oh, it was Becca. Of course it was.
I'm sorry. And Megan's like, I have the weirdest friends ever.
No, it's so lovely. Actually, that reminds me, were we going to update on the kindness challenge?
Yeah, sure.
I can't remember what I did last week for the life of me. I did something. It was probably half-hearted, but I've lost it. If I think of it, I'll tweet. Do you remember what you did last week?
So last week, I reached out to, on my personal Twitter account, there was somebody who was very upset about they live in Europe and they had gotten scammed out of BTS tickets.
Oh my
and
gosh.
So they were part of that group that like all the fans went inside and left a giant mess outside. And so all the fans that had gotten scammed out of tickets or couldn't get tickets stayed outside the venue and cleaned up their mess. And then they all like sang songs and had dance-offs and stuff while the concert was happening inside. And so
That's amazing.
From my personal Twitter, I reached out to this one girl who kept uploading like photos and videos and I just was like, hey, I'm genuinely so sorry that this happened to you, and I wish you the absolute best for future endeavors getting into their concerts. And she actually got back to me, so we communicated for a little bit, but I was just like, I know it seems like such a weird thing to be like, I'm gonna reach out to a stranger, but I was like, I just really felt bad for her.
They're cool. That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's what I did. I don't know if that counts, but that's what I did.
That's a nice transition. We have a listener named Alyssa who reached out to us, who was telling me she didn't get scammed out of tickets, but she was able to purchase tickets through Ticketmaster or whoever was selling them for the Citi Field show. Mm-hmm. And she lives on the West Coast. So as time got closer, she realized it wasn't going to happen. She wasn't going to be able to fly out there. So she sold the tickets for face value, like a true fan. And kind of communicated with the fan she was selling them to, and that person got to go. And instead of going, she used the money that she got from selling the tickets to go out to dinner with her friends who were going to go to the concert. And they went and had a meal, and they just like talked about their love for K-pop. And she said it was kind of in the vein of the kindness challenge. She wanted to like buy dinner for them, and it was so lovely and amazing. It really inspired me. I seriously read the email and was just like, wow, this is awesome. She was so positive about it and so lovely about the whole thing. Alyssa, really, I think you're just so cool, and I think what you did was so cool. And she said we touched base again after the Citi Field concert, and she said she watched some of the fan cams and was happy for everybody got to be there. And she actually connected again with the girl that bought, or I don't know if it was a girl, the fan that bought her tickets, and that fan sent her a video she took at the show, and it was just like a great connection that they made. And it was cool.
Lovely.
Yeah, it made me happy. We've had a couple people tell us that they've had a moment where they thought like they were going to take on the kindness challenge too, and it made me really happy, because even though I do it like, oh man, I have to do something nice today, every time I do it, I feel better.
You feel better.
Did you do something this week?
I did. I actually have a really good friend that has twins, and I think they might be struggling a bit with the holidays coming up, and so I sent them 2 boxes of diapers through Amazon, just mailed it to their house. And
what a nice thought.
99% sure she has no idea we even do this. So I feel safe saying that because I did it anonymously. I just said, miss you from your friend.
That's awesome.
I didn't say Becca. So
she knows
she was
it's you.
Pumped.
Anybody who knows you knows it was you.
I don't know if that's true, but anyway.
This week, my kindness challenge came to me, kind of. I didn't have to do anything. I was flying to Los Angeles, and I got to my row on my first flight, and the guy in the middle seat was like, oh, are you supposed to sit here, and pointed to the seat? And I said, yes. And he said, would you mind switching with my wife so that we can sit together? And I said, yes, I would.
And you were like, check, done.
I was like, done. Actually, sir, you'd be helping me out. Because now I don't have to do anything nice for anyone. They were super nice about it. Because to me, that's not that big of a deal. I was flying by myself. I've switched on flights before so many times. And people make it like it's such a big deal. I remember one time somebody needed to switch seats so they could sit with their child. And nobody would do it. And I was like, I'll move. I don't care.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I'm sitting in first class and moving to coach. I'm going to have a terrible time either way. And so I volunteered, and the flight attendants treated me like a dang queen the rest of the time. So now,
Wow.
by rule, I know if somebody asks me to switch, I'm like, yes. Because also, if I ever asked somebody to switch and they said no, I would be like, what's wrong with you?
No kidding. We actually have done it many times because I've told you my husband and I have been to like over 100 concerts together. And we oftentimes will go with friends, and because our friends live all over the world and all over the United States, we never end up buying tickets at the same time because we never know who really is going to go and whatnot. So a lot of times my husband and I will have gotten better seats than our friends. So we will take our 2 tickets and walk them back to where our friends are sitting. And every single time, it's never not worked out. Either the people sitting on the left or right of our friends will say, hey,
switch.
Do you want these better seats if we can sit back here with our friend? And then we switch. Yeah.
You're a good friend.
People would be like angry about that on a flight.
They must, because I'm not kidding you. Every time I've been asked and I've done it, they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like they'd already asked 10 people who had said no or
that's
something.
So disappointing.
So it was fine. It was no big deal, but it was, a little thing that I could do.
Megan, you're a positive light in the world.
I mean, not really. I'm pretty disgusting right now. The other thing we want to do is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I don't think so. I think that was pretty much it. Just a nice, fond farewell to DramaFever, and to everybody listening that's also upset. You're not alone.
We'll always
be dramatic. If nobody in your family cares about it, come be dramatic with us. Email us,
please.
Becca@NoonaYaBusiness.com or Megan@NoonaYaBusiness.com, Facebook, Twitter, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Not joking. When my husband came home last night, he was like, so what'd you do today? Because I got to work from home yesterday. And I was like, well, honey, big news. And we always joke about, oh, big news. And it's like something silly, like I got a hangnail. But I go, big news. So he kind of started laughing, thinking it was going to be a joke. And I go, DramaFever shut down immediately today. And he's like, you're freaking kidding me. And I was like, no. And so he had to pull it up. And then that's when YouTube was crashing too. And we were just like, what is happening?
So nuts. It was so nuts.
It's crazy.
We had a Twitter follower ask us to do, so BTS was interviewed by BuzzFeed UK, and it was hilarious because they made BTS take the which BTS member are you quiz. And if you haven't watched the video, it's just, as always, delightful.
Post a link. Yeah.
It's so funny. And so we had a Twitter follower who was like, you guys should take this quiz on the podcast. Absolutely, we will. So what we did is, because we're in different places, we took the quiz for ourselves. And then I took the quiz as Becca, what I thought Becca would say. And she took it based on what she thought I would say. And we're going to see if we were able to guess or to correctly take the quiz for the other person. And the questions are totally random. Like, what's your favorite snack? Or which of these would you pick as a snack? If you had to pick a house, which house? A karaoke song, whatever.
Where do you want to visit?
What country do you want to visit?
What would you eat? Yeah.
Yeah.
What song would you karaoke to? Which I'm going to be honest, I only heard of 2 of those songs, I think, in my whole life. So they were... maybe I'm that out of it that I don't know modern
definitely
music.
Picked a song that you heard, because it was all the songs were from the last 2 years except for Wannabe from the Spice Girls. It was the only one that was from, and that's from 20 years ago.
Forever ago.
Yeah. So
all right. So when you took the quiz, are you going to tell me who you got, or do you want me to tell you who I got when I took the quiz?
You tell me who you got when you took the quiz pretending to be me.
Okay, when I took the quiz pretending to be you, I actually got RM, which surprised me.
Really?
Yes.
I like that answer. I think that answer is almost better for me than who I got.
Ooh.
For myself. Because I got it and I was very surprised. I got Jimin when I took it.
Of course you did.
I got Jimin, yeah. I know. It's just a shining light of sexiness in the world.
Listen to that seductive voice coming through those airwaves.
You can't fake this sexy, people.
Can you please say that again while you blow your nose?
Let me just take a moment. So when I took the quiz as you, I got Jin.
Really?
Yeah, I got Jin.
Wow.
Which I guess actually means that you are RM, because when he took the quiz, he got gin also.
Oh, did he? I haven't watched it yet.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Yoongi's the funniest part. You gotta watch it.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it as soon as we hang up.
He was on his game for sure.
So when I took the quiz, I actually got Jungkook.
Oh,
I
no wonder
did not
like
expect
you.
that. I have no idea
It's-
why. I even look back at the answers I picked and I'm like, I don't know. I don't think any of these are related to him.
I always take the quiz twice. Any quiz. I take it twice. Once with my first choice answers and once with my second choice answers. And I got Jimin both times.
Really?
Yeah. There are a couple where they're like, isn't a second choice. Like, I absolutely had to pick the same thing. So, who knows?
Interesting.
I guess that means we're meant to be, though.
I
Either
was
way,
gonna say,
Jin
you
and
love
RM
me
and
no matter my answer, right?
Jungkook and Jimin. Yeah, it's perfect.
Oh God!
I love it.
Of course you got Jimin. This is so funny because you got my original bias
And you got my bias.
and I got yours. See?
Whoa. That's
Crazy.
I love it.
My mind
this makes
is-
perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
Seriously, my hair is insane today.
I don't know why you think that. I think it looks nice. You know who you look more like than you don't look like Cousin It. It's like a Chewbacca look.
I could do Chewbacca.
I have the Chewbacca voice. You have the Chewbacca.
So I will wear a microphone.
Yeah.
You just go around projecting. Or you wear the microphone, I'll wear the speaker, and I'll just do the Chewbacca look.
That's great because that means I don't have to go out for Halloween.
That would be awesome. I'll just be scary, tired mom. Look at, I'm doing it really well.
You look beautiful, you
Look at my
ding
dark
dong.
circles.
You stop that right now. Don't talk about my friend that way. Also, just like they say in Flower Boy Next Door, her dark circles are her charm.
And they're her charm. Got charm coming out of every
As a woman
space.
who literally looks like she has dark circles tattooed under her eyes. Welcome to the club.
Well, I think that's fascinating. So thank you to our Twitter friend who sent that to us. 'cause
Heather.
We got a good laugh out of that, Heather. So thank you very much.
Yeah. And let us know who you got.
Yeah, Heather, who'd you get? You didn't tell us. So
You
we
didn't
would
tell
love
us.
to know. Anybody else will post it, and let's see who everybody else gets, because I'm interested to know now.
Too fun.
All right, Megan, I think we're good. Do you want to take us out of here for the day?
Yes, please keep in touch, everyone. You can email us at Becca@NoonaYaBusiness.com, Megan at NoonaYaBusiness.com. We're on Twitter at Noona Ya Business, Facebook at Noona Ya Business. You can find us on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, and iTunes. And those are also please check out our sponsor, whoarted.com, who-arted, arted.com. And also, if you're out there on YouTube or Spotify or wherever, leave us a review because feedback is always really appreciated.
We do appreciate it. Actually, I have a fun fact. I was on our YouTube page the other day. I haven't been on there in so long. And I was responding to some comments that we had gotten, which were lovely. And I just happened to stumble across our original Boys Over Flower recap episode. And again, up until today, and who knows if this video will ever see the light of day, our YouTube podcasts are just like a static screen of the title and our image and all that stuff. It has like almost 1,000 views.
We're totally random.
Totally random. But the funny thing to me is it has just as many dislikes as it has likes.
And we know at least one of the dislikes is Jungkook because for the life of him, he will not give us a good review. He gave us that 1-star review on iTunes, and ever since then, he's just wreaking havoc across all platforms.
But just on that video. It's just on that video. So I don't know where that got posted or how that got shared, but a lot of people have listened to it, and 4 people really did not like it.
4 people just
but
could not.
I would say the majority of our emails about our recap episodes are about Boys Over Flowers. People are like, I laughed so hard. I listened to that so much. So the internet
I know,
is
man.
the thing. I don't know.
You can't please everybody.
Clearly.
Clearly. Even no matter how hard I try every day of my life.
So, Megan, I'm so sad to let you go, but
I know, I miss you.
I'm going to sign off. So
We're going to see how this works.
Thanks for joining us today, everybody. And
We
whether
love
this
you.
is your first episode or your 30s. Look at my tiny Jimin hands. Your 36th episode. Thank you for joining us at Noona Ya Business.